right, everybody, get ready because today we are going deep into the world of AI
Oh, yeah.
and advanced mathematics.
Sounds fun.
We are talking about this new benchmark called FrontierMath,
Okay.
and it's meant to test how far AI has actually come in solving some really, really hard math problems,
Really hard.
like Field's medalist level.
Wow.
And to help us with this, we have a research paper from Epoch AI, the people who made this benchmark,
Right.
and a recent article from Ars Technica to help guide us along the way.
What I think is really cool about this is that we are going to get a look into a benchmark that is actually secret.
Oh,
It's not available to the public.
So no peeking at the answers ahead of time.
Nope.
So why all the secrecy?
So Frontier Math is specially designed to be what they call guess-proof.
Disproof. Okay.
So imagine if you had a multiple choice test,
Okay.
but the wrong answers were so obviously wrong that you could never pick them,
Right.
even if you had no clue what the right answer was.
Mm.
Frontier Math problems are kind of like that, but for advanced math.
Uh-huh.
They require deep specialized knowledge to even get close to a solution.
So it's not like AI can just, get lucky and spit out the right answer.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And this lets us really see how AI compares to us humans.
Okay.
And speaking of humans, the Ars Technica article mentions that even making this benchmark was a challenge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they quote Epoch AI as saying that about 1 in 20 of the problems actually needed corrections
Wow.
during peer review.
So even the humans are struggling.
Yeah, and that's with over 60 mathematicians
Wow.
from top institutions.
Okay, so what kinds of problems are we actually talking about here?
So think of it as like a gauntlet.
Okay.
Hundreds of original math problems,
Oh, wow.
never been seen before,
Okay.
and they span all sorts of different fields like number theory,
Okay.
algebraic geometry,
Mm-hmm.
even category theory,
Stuff that would make my high school math teachers sweat.
probably.
And it sounds like they keep all of this stuff under wraps
Yeah,
to avoid what they call data contamination.
exactly.
Essentially making sure that the AI isn't just spitting out answers it's already seen before.
Yeah, like that wouldn't be a very good test.
Right.
It's like comparing a runner who's only trained on one track to a runner who's run on all different kinds of terrain.
Right. So frontier math is really trying to push AI to go where it hasn't gone before.
Exactly, and that's what makes these problems so difficult,
Okay.
even for us humans.
Yeah.
Their research paper says that solving just one of these problems could take an experienced researcher hours
Oh, wow.
or even days.
I'm starting to get a little nervous for these AIs,
Yeah.
but also even more curious about how they actually performed.
Well, before we jump into the AI's performance, I think it's important to emphasize
Yeah.
just how difficult these problems are,
Okay.
even for the best mathematical minds out there.
Didn't the Ars Technica article mention a couple
Yeah.
really big names in math?
It did.
Who said they struggled?
They talked to Fields medalists, Terence Tao and Timothy Gowers.
Wow. Okay.
And Tao said that you would probably need a whole team to solve these.
Really?
Like a grad student paired with some AI
Wow.
and a bunch of specialized software just to solve one of these problems.
Wow.
And Gowers flat out admitted that the problems that he looked at were outside his area of expertise
Okay.
and looked incredibly difficult.
All right. So I think we've established that frontier math is like the Mount Everest
Yeah.
of math problems.
It's a good analogy.
Now, for the million-dollar question,
Let's hear it.
how did the AI actually do?
So we are talking about cutting-edge AI here.
Yeah.
Claude 3.5 Sonnet,
Mm-hmm.
GPT-4o
Okay.
O1 Preview,
Yeah.
O1 Mini Grok 2 Beta,
Ah. Okay.
even Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Wow. The heavy hitters.
And they were even given some leeway.
Oh, okay.
They were allowed to experiment a bit.
So they got some help?
A little bit. They could run code and get feedback before they gave their final answer.
So like they had a calculator?
Kind of. But even with all that,
Don't leave me hanging.
less than a 2% success rate
Ouch.
across the board.
I knew these were tough, but less than 2%.
I know.
Even with the AI equivalent of a calculator.
Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, there's one tiny glimmer of hope.
Okay.
One Model 01 preview actually solved one specific problem
Okay.
consistently across all 5 trials.
Okay, so one problem out of how many?
Hundreds.
Okay. So not great.
But overall, it's clear that there's a huge gap between AI
Yeah.
and human mathematical reasoning.
So this isn't just AI being a little bit slower than humans.
Right.
It seems like they're missing some fundamental tools.
Yeah. It's like trying to build a skyscraper
Huh.
with just a hammer and nails.
Yeah, like they're missing something.
Definitely.
So what is it that they're missing?
Well, the research paper points to one key culprit:
Okay.
training data.
Okay, so the stuff that they learn from.
Exactly. AI thrives on patterns.
Right. But for a lot of these frontier math problems, the relevant data just isn't there.
So it's not just that the AI needs to get smarter.
Right.
It's that it needs to have the right stuff to learn from.
Yeah, it needs the right building blocks.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what are the takeaways here?
Yeah.
What does that 2% success rate really tell us?
Well, I think that 2% success rate is incredibly revealing.
Oh, yeah.
It really shows the limitations of current AI,
Okay.
especially when it comes to these really complex mathematical problems,
Uh-huh.
the kind that require really deep understanding.
Okay, so this isn't just a setback for AI.
Right.
It's actually providing valuable data.
Exactly. Think of frontier math as like a stress test.
Okay.
We are pushing these systems to their absolute limit,
Yeah.
and we're finding out what separates human reasoning.
Okay, I'm starting to see why APOC AI went through all this trouble
Right.
to create this benchmark.
Yeah.
But what is the end game here?
Well, in their paper, they say that frontier math is a big step
Okay.
toward figuring out if AI systems can actually do research-level math.
So it's not just solving equations.
Right.
It's about getting AI to think creatively.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I can see how helpful that would be.
Yeah.
Imagine AI working with researchers,
Yeah.
helping them test their ideas.
Yeah. And imagine what that means for other fields, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because math is the foundation for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Physics, engineering, computer science.
Right.
So a breakthrough in math could mean a breakthrough in all sorts of other fields.
Okay. You've got me hooked.
Good.
But before we get too carried away, I want to go back to the experiment.
Okay.
We know that AI had a chance to experiment with code.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that actually worked?
So they were given a virtual workspace, basically.
Oh, yeah.
A Python programming environment inside the test,
Uh-huh.
so they could try different approaches,
Okay.
see what worked,
Right.
refine their strategies.
So it's like a human mathematician scribbling on a whiteboard. So they're not just crunching numbers, they're actually testing things out.
Right. And what's interesting is that different models had different styles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some were more direct,
Okay.
like O1 Preview or Google's Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
They submitted answers without experimenting much.
Like those students that just glance at the problem and think they know the answer?
Exactly.
Okay.
While others were more methodical,
Like who?
Claude 3.5 Sonnet and GPT-4o.
Okay.
They ran lots of code and tried different things.
Oh, wow. So they really took their time.
Yeah, really explored the problem.
So even within AI, we are seeing these different problem-solving styles.
Exactly. And that highlights something really important about AI research.
What's that?
It's not just about getting AI to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about understanding how it thinks.
Right, because maybe we can learn something from that.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the limitations of AI, the
Yeah.
potential of AI.
Right.
We even got into the details of the experiment. But what does this all mean for someone like me?
Good question.
Someone who's fascinated by AI,
Yeah.
but maybe not a math whiz.
Well, I think frontier math is like a compass.
Okay.
It's pointing us toward the future of AI.
Okay.
And it's telling us that there's still a lot of work to do,
Especially when it comes to fields like advanced math,
right?
where you need that creative thinking, that
Yeah.
intuition.
Mm-hmm.
AI can be a powerful tool,
It can.
but it's not a magic solution.
Not yet.
And I think that's important for everyone to understand.
Yeah, not just researchers,
Right.
but anyone who uses AI.
Whether they're at work or just in everyday life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about the limitations, we talked about the challenges, but what
Yeah.
about the future?
Mhm.
What happens if AI actually cracks frontier math?
That's when things get really interesting.
So we are back, and I feel like we just got a crash course
We did.
in AI
Yeah.
and really hard math.
Some really challenging math problems.
All thanks to this super secret frontier math benchmark.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
How secret it is.
It is. And you know what really struck me?
What's that?
This whole thing didn't really feel like
Yeah.
a competition
Yeah.
between AI and humans.
Mm-hmm.
It felt more like we were getting a glimpse into this future
Yes.
where they're working together.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the consensus from the research paper
Okay.
and from those interviews with the big-name mathematicians.
So they're saying that AI isn't going to replace mathematicians.
Right.
It's going to help them.
Yeah, it's more like giving them a new set of tools.
Okay, so like instead of having to do all those complex calculations themselves,
Right.
AI can step in and help out.
Exactly.
So then mathematicians can focus on the more creative parts of their work.
Like coming up with those big ideas.
Yeah, like that's the fun part.
Right.
So Timothy Gowers actually said that AI could become this
He did.
Really great time-saving device.
It's a good quote.
It is so it can take care of all the boring stuff.
Yeah.
Now that's an AI assistant I can get behind.
Sign me up.
But let's say AI does figure out
Yeah.
how to solve all these frontier math problems.
Okay.
Is that all good?
That's a good question.
Or are there some things we should be worried about?
Well, I think it's definitely a future with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But like with any new technology, there are going to be some things to think about.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
One concern that comes up a lot is that people are going to lose their jobs.
Oh, yeah, the whole robots taking over thing?
Exactly. But I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Okay. How so?
Well, think about what happened when computers came along.
Okay.
They didn't replace mathematicians.
Right, they just changed how they work.
Exactly. They expanded the kinds of problems they could solve.
Right.
And I think AI is going to be similar.
So it's more about adapting and evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
Than just being replaced.
And the mathematicians who embrace AI, they're going to be the ones who thrive.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, beyond all of that,
Yeah.
there are some even bigger questions here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, what does it even mean to be intelligent?
Right.
If AI can solve problems that even the smartest humans struggle with.
Yeah. It really makes you think.
Does that mean AI is intelligent?
It's a question that a lot of people are thinking about.
Yeah, and there are no easy answers.
Definitely not.
Especially as AI becomes more and more a part of our lives.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end
I think you're right.
of our deep dive into frontier math.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Me too.
And as always, we like to leave you with something to think about.
Yeah. Keep those brains working.
What are your hopes and concerns about the future of AI and math and how it will impact all of us?
Because it will impact all of us.
It will.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.
We will.
And thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
We will see you next time.